All right, welcome back. So we're going to do another powder measure comparison today, the case activated type, like to use on a progressive press. I have here the Lyman / Mark 7 mechanical powder measure. It is a really nice unit. I mean, the finish and fit on it is pretty high end. Everything looks very well machined. One interesting thing is it has this like screen in it. I think they put this in here so if you were running like one of their big automated reloading presses and you were pouring cases or bullets into one of the case or bullet feeders and you had the your lid off the hopper and a bullet fell down in there by accident, you could still get it back out. So probably solving a problem that I would never have there, but it might work for you. And that does make it a little bit tricky to get the baffle out. You actually have to pull the hopper out of the measure to get it in and out, so that's a little bit aggravating. I don't know if I will do as much testing without the baffle, just because it's such a pain to get it back in there and kind of not flopped over side to side or whatever. So anyway, I've got my trusty little case here, a fired case, and I got my scales zeroed out pretty good. So we're still going to be dispensing CFE 223 powder like we have done in all the other tests. So let's get with it here. Got my spreadsheet ready to go. So we'll see how she does. Okay, so I've got the hopper about half full of powder here, so we'll start with that. And I've already ran probably 1/4 pound of powder through the press, after I cleaned it, just to try to get some powder residue in there everywhere, hoping that it'll run a little more consistently that way. So trying to give it every fighting chance that it has. So I just did fill the hopper up with powder, so I'm gonna go ahead and just ignore these first two. That way we'll just give it a chance to kind of settle in. We'll do one more. All right, let's make sure the zero's still good on the case there, and it is. All right, let's see what I can't remember what I had it set at. I think it's right around 28 grains is what I've been trying to do all these tests at. So 2696. $27.10. The measure operates pretty smooth. 27.22. One of its selling points is it has a spring system built in here, to where if one of your cases is a little longer than the next, it shouldn't affect it. And I'll show you what I mean by that right here. So like they say when you set the press up and the ram is all the way up, you should still be able to have a little bit of there's the springy action I was telling you about. Like it's bottomed out, but it still has some give to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and disregard this one because of the playing around that I just did with it there. $27.44. You know what? Just in case I cause that by the playing around with it with the spring deal there, I'm gonna disregard that one too, just in case. I don't know if that's what it is or not, but I'm at least going to give it the benefit of the doubt. 27. Okay, I'm just going to keep going here until I get about 25 charges dispensed, and then I'll touch base with you again and see if I can come up with anything different to try. Another 2736. Okay, so I just had one thing happen here. Sort of like the same experiences that I've had with other powder measures. If you ever feel this thing do something odd, like it sort of came up and sort of got in a bind for just a second and then went on the rest of the way as I was raising the ram. Anytime that ever happens with any powder measure, it has been my experience that charge will be off in some ginormous way than what the average is. So as you can see on this one, it was 27.72. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in there, and I'll see if I can get it to do it again. And you know, right when I cut the camera off a second ago, I did have another 27.4 and 27.44 charges thrown there. So it wasn't just a fluke on that one where I was playing with the spring apparatus. I'm gonna see if I can get that to happen again. Yeah, well, 2742. Check the zero again just to make sure that ain't moved around. Nope. Well, there's a 2754, and I didn't feel anything funny happen there. All right, I'm going to cut the camera off again and keep on trucking here. And I'll check back with you in a minute or two. Okay, so I just finished the first 25 charges there, and it was pretty bad. There was a extreme spread of 0.76 grains, which is horrible. That's probably the worst extreme spread that I've got on any of my tests. So anyway, It seems like it might have settled down and started throwing a little bit better here in these last 10 or so charges. So I'm just going to go ahead and make another run of it and dispense another 25 and see if maybe it was just the measure needed to settle down, or maybe it's still getting a little bit of powder residue built up everywhere, and maybe it's starting to run a little bit more consistent. So I'm just going to go ahead and dispense another 25 and see what those results are, and the test might end right there. So case is still zeroed, and I'm going to get to it here. Okay, and sure enough, right when I just cut the camera off, the measure did the weird poppy thing. Oh, right there, it did it again. Finally, this happened when the camera was running. So let's see what it... Oh yeah, seeing it through 27.82 there. So, like I said, it's been my experience that anytime something like that happens with any of these measures, it's always a bad throw. 27.56. Okay, just so the video don't get crazy long, I'm going to go ahead and keep on dispensing another however many it takes to get to 25 here, and I'll check back in with you if something eventful happens. Okay, I'm probably going to regret doing this, but it seemed like when I was approaching the last probably 10 or 12 charges that started settling down a little bit, other than I did get a 27.98 throw right there, which was pretty bad. But I'm going to give it one more chance, dispense 25 more charges, and we'll see if it gets any better. So let's see, here we are. Case is still zeroed, so I'll get to it, and probably after this we'll just start going over my results. Okay, so as I was getting ready to finish up the test, I was cleaning out the powder measure, and I noticed there was some powder sticking down around the metering cavity. I thought I had it cleaned out like really good, but apparently it wasn't completely clean, so I took all of it apart and cleaned it out with alcohol and Q-tips again. I've already cycled several charges back through the measure. I'm giving it as many fighting chances as I can here, so I'm going to go ahead and dispense. I'm going to just discard one or two more. I tried filling the powder level back up to a similar level that it was before. All right, let's dispense 25 more charges here after the cleaning. And I think I have the metering drum. Let's see, 27.58. I think I have the metering drum set approximately really close to where we left off. Now, this is the same case. You can still see it's still zeroed out good. Okay, I'm gonna carry on here, and I'll check back in with you if anything eventful happens. If not, I'll probably just see you at the results. Okay, well, things are definitely looking a lot better after the cleaning, for sure. So I'm just about done here. I think I only have three more to go. I am noticing just a little bit of powder spillage. I'll show you that right here in just a second. I did have one of the kind of the pops to happen too one time, and but it didn't throw like way off when it happened that time. So I don't know what, maybe the cleaning helped that too, who knows. All right, I think this is the last one. I've seen a lot of 2768s. Okay, right here, let me see if I can dump this powder out first before I forget. You can see a little bit of powder like spilled around there. I've kind of blown it off a lot, but seems like it might leak out just a little bit, and I believe it's coming out, you know, around the edges of the case mouth. You know, that's my, let's see, I think this one's got a little bit more on it. Yeah, you might be able to see a few kind of hanging around in there. So anyway, just, it's not horrible, you know, it's kind of on par with some of the others that I've seen. And there's where we wound up on powder level. So, okay, let's get to the result. All right, here we are at the results. I guess take these first three with a grain of salt here, because like I said earlier in the video, after I was wrapping this third run up, that's when I started emptying out the powder measure, and I noticed a few little granules of powder kind of sticking around in the metering cavity, and I'm like, well, heck, I guess I didn't have it as clean as I thought it is. So I really cleaned it again, and then started dispensing some charges. The very first charge I dispensed, or that I recorded, because I think I dumped 2 or 3 before I even started keeping track of them, was 2758. That was the only one that was that light. As you can see when we scroll on down here, the lowest one on that run was 2758, and I only had an extreme spread of 0.16, which compared to these others, I mean, that was, you know, heck, practically cut it in half. Well, I guess it did cut it in half. Standard deviation went down to 0.03. But let me show you what happens if we just take away this first one. Let's just say, I think our next lowest one would have been a 2764. I think I'm going to scroll down through here. There's some more 64s. Yeah, I don't see any 62s that are just jumping out at me. So let's just replace this one with a 27.64 and see what that does. That takes the extreme spread down to 1/10 and the standard deviation of 0.02. That's pretty incredible. You know, again, you know, maybe this one was still settling in. I mean, I thought it would have been settled in by the time you throw 2 or 3 charges, but you know, before you start. But I'm going to undo that because this was the actual results, and I'd actually thrown a few before I even started recording with the camera. So anyway, I guess this is the more accurate test to go by. So out of those 25 charges, it threw pretty dang good. That's one of the better results that I've had. Like I said, there was a little bit of powder spillage that you would sort of think this thing comes in at a price range of somewhere around $275 to $300. You would think paying that kind of money, you shouldn't get very much powder spillage, and I did see a little bit here and there. So anyway, that's the results I had. Thank you guys again for watching, and I guess I'm gonna have to make my big shootout video now, because I've tested pretty much all the powder measures I can think of right offhand. Hornady, RCBS, Lee, now this Mark 7, as well as the Dillon, and I can't really think of too many others to try unless I start going down the product lines. Like Hornady has a bench rest one that I think you can hook the linkage up to run with a progressive, and Redding also has some powder measures, but I'm not sure if I can hook my linkage up to those or not. So I guess there are a few more that I could attempt to try before I made the big finale video. But anyway, I'll be getting to that soon. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will talk to you later.